Streaming soon.
Looks like
It's
we're
probably
up.
about 2, 3, 400 people waiting.
At least that. And here we go. Intro time.
Nice. It's time to get greasy. Full barn.
This is the best Ursa looks on the podcast right now.
During the intro, and it's just a stinky skate.
Already the chirping starts.
Hey, he knows how to play his position.
Here you go. Off to you, Mike.
Game on.
Hey, game on, boys. Grab the nets. Throw the sticks in the middle because it's time for another episode of Straight Off the Pipe 36 edition this time. Proud members of the Heavy Hockey Network. We are here for the Oilers Senators special post-game edition. And I'll get into intros here shortly, but I did say it was episode 36, and there may be some sort of cosmic or ironic satire about that, or Michael, you'll appreciate this, but maybe there's some quantum singularity around the number 36. But the Oilers had 36 shots. They've been averaging 36 shots a game over the last 3 games. The Oilers had 36 hits, might have been 37 last time I checked. 36th game, and Mike Smith's missed due to injury. 36th time we've surrendered the first goal in 41 games. Might want to fact check me there. 36 was the announced attendance in Ottawa. 36 stitches to repair and sew up Tim Stutzel's left eye. And 36 seconds left on the clock when he got his redemption and went straight off the pipe top corner. 36 was also the amount of times I tried to DM Ken Holland to give him Tyson Berry trade ideas because boy, oh boy, Bushbaum looks good. Oh, I said I'd get around to the intro, so here we are. Tonight we've got our honorable head honcho of heavy hockey. He's my handsome Haligonian hunk, Michael Hebert. You can find him on Tuesdays on Oilers Live on the Heavy Hockey Network, as well as on Twitter at Oilers Live. How you doing tonight, Mr. Hebert?
Oh, I'm doing all right. That's a lot of 36s. I don't know how many of those I believe, damn it, but I'll believe.
Might want to fact check me.
I'll believe
Eric
anything.
Friesen, our chief editor, may want to get on that, but it is what it is. And in the other box beside me, my co-host, as always, waiting like a patient, stoic grandfather in his rocker with his pipe by his fire there. Old man Dursa at Mike Dursa on Twitter. Give me your thoughts on the game there, Granddaddy.
You know, this pandemic has been a bizarre time for everybody. And if there's one thing I couldn't have predicted tonight, it was Tim Stützle and William Lagesson getting into a fight. Who had that on their Ottawa Edmonton bingo card? Definitely not me.
Yeah, this Swede on German crime has to stop.
Yeah, we're still waiting for that Kane dust up, which hasn't happened yet. I thought maybe tonight, as a lot of us did with potentially Tkachuk, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, I predicted a Gordie Howe hat trick in the first game, and then I predicted another one this game. So I don't know. I guess I just keep predicting one until he does it. But he looked a little better out there tonight. His feet were under him a little bit, I think. What do you think?
You know what? I thought he played a lot better. I want to talk about this, but after we talk about the game, I did think I thought he played a lot better tonight. He definitely looked better. He's not dragging the line down. I thought he kind of dragged the line down the other night, even though he scored the goal, but he just didn't have his feet under him. He had some chances tonight. He had one in the slot where his stick was lifted just at the right time. He's starting to play the Kane style of game that you want him to play. I think it's hard. Love him or hate him, it's hard to ask much more of him after 2 games in the NHL this season. So he's done all right. Done better than I could, tell you that. It doesn't say much. Doesn't say much.
Overall, no, it doesn't. That's for damn sure. Yeah. Durst, your overall thoughts on the game?
So when it was 2-2, I mean, Russell got kind of ran behind the net pretty good by Brady Tkachuk there, and Kane was either he was on the ice then or he just came on just shortly after. And I mean, if there was an opportunity to kind of flex his authority. I guess that would have been it. And I think if the score was different than 2-2, he probably would have. Looked like he's playing kind of composed, like, he's finishing his checks, but he's not going looking for the extra kind of stuff right now. I think he's just trying to work himself into the lineup. He set Yamamoto up early in the first period for probably what should have been a goal, but Yamo's kind of a little bit snake bitten, as are a couple other forwards on this team. I was surprised to see him kind of already get thrown out there on the first power play unit, kind of ahead of JP and Hyman. That kind of did surprise me a little bit. So they're definitely, Tippett's definitely giving him his opportunity to, show what he can do.
Hyman's been great 2 games in a row, I thought. I mean, he's solid. The guy's fast. Like, I always forget how fast he is. Every single game, I forget how fast he is until he blasts by a couple of people. Because he's not huge. Like, he's not a big guy. Like, he just, he's like Yamo, right? Like, the two of them are kind of, they're fast skaters. And he had some good chances. He assisted on one tonight. I thought was good. Yeah. And
not a game goes by where I don't think Hyman should have had a hat trick.
Yeah.
He's all over it. He honestly, not maybe 2 or 3 times a night, I'm saying to myself, oh, Hyman could have had another one.
And he just lost, like tonight, if that puck didn't bobble a little bit, he would have had more room. Like, I think he lost just enough room to not be able to get that puck up over Murray's pad. By the way, Murray is looking outstanding, right? I mean, he's the difference tonight, I thought. I mean, I didn't think the Oilers played, exceptional, but I thought they played well enough to win this game tonight, if not for Murray. Right? I'm not going to say Murray stole the game, but he certainly looked good tonight, as he did.
He was one of their better players.
Game.
There's no doubt about
last
it.
Game too.
Yeah.
He's rounding back into form like that Matt Murray that was in Pittsburgh. That's good news if you're a Sens fan. I'm not, so I hate it. But
he looks a lot more like the Matt Murray of Pittsburgh than the Matt Murray of Ottawa last year. I'll give you that.
Yeah. So I'll take it. I mean, Ottawa played a pretty good game considering they're a little short-handed, but they play. They don't give the puck away a lot, and they finish their checks. They play an honest game, and I think they deserve some credit for that. They might not be the most skilled team, but they play definitely an honest game.
Well, hats off to Stützle for dropping the mitts, right? I mean, that's and come through in OT. We must have heard Jack Michaels, and Louis DeBrusque say this team comes out to play every night about 20 times tonight. So, but they do.
Yeah.
They're they might not be top of the league, but they're not a gimme. That's for sure.
There's one.
Yeah, they're a hard out.
If there's one fault I have with Lagesson is he fought him too early. He should have waited a little bit.
Or knocked him out of the game, at least.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
I think he did his best to knock him out of the game. That was a hell of a right hand he landed on the way down there. And by the way, while he's falling there, that referee almost killed him pulling the net out of the way. I don't know what that ref was trying to do. I'd rather land on a cushy net than the ref trying to pull that thing out of the way. And it almost hit him in the back of the head. I had to rewind it a few times. I sent it to Lachansky. I said, is that something that referees are instructed to do? Because, I can see you moving sticks and gloves out of the way, but him jumping in there like the Incredible Hulk and trying to deadlift the net out of the way was a little odd to me.
The Incredible Hulk, eh?
Stunned. I got everybody speechless. There we go. Okay, Durst, you said that you don't think they give the puck away much, and I don't know if I can disagree with you. But, boys, here's something that I noticed. The more I watched this team tonight, and as Ottawa, kind of fired puck after puck after puck, you guys noticed that. And I think, Michaels or Kipper might have said it a couple times too, where, they just keep putting pucks on net and they just keep trying to make something happen. Now, as I watch this and I realize that, this is a far end of the spectrum from the way that the Oilers play hockey. I think we've had a reputation for trying to be too pretty for a long time, right? We've heard it many times where the Oilers try to pass the puck into the net. And to complement that, I've also heard Tippett in post games and pressers talk about how he doesn't like when his team takes low percentage scoring shots or take shot from low percentage scoring opportunities, because he says that they're like turnovers. So as I watch the battle of these two teams tonight, and I watch the Senators who just pound the puck at the net and just pound the pill at the net, and the Oilers who dance around pretty and try to pass it into the net, I don't know if I noticed that they didn't give the puck away much, and maybe Tippett would disagree with you, Durst, but you know what? I didn't mind that style by Ottawa. Am I justified in thinking that, Hebert?
Well, 100%. I mean, there's no other team that you can look at than the guys to the south of Edmonton and Calgary, who are averaging 40 or 50 shots a night, and you're going to tell me that those are all high quality chances? They're not. I mean, it's the style of play that Sutter comes out and preaches, and the style, obviously, that they're playing in Ottawa. I mean, that's, if you had guys, the challenge in Edmonton is you don't have guys going to the net, right? They've started a little bit. Like I thought tonight they actually touched the goalie a couple times, which shocked the hell out of me. There's one time there where I thought Nurse was going to take everybody out, like he was going for a strike. And you know what? I love it. I absolutely love it.
7-10 split.
Did you see Lowtide's tweet on that?
No, I didn't. But
he said the Oilers gained a first down because Nurse pushed them across the line.
Yeah. No, I mean, but it was great. Like, when's the last time we saw something like that? That was awesome. Here, guys, I'm going to step right into this because there's two things I want to make sure we talk about tonight. And I know it's your show, but I want to make sure we talk about
it's your network, brother.
There's the first off, and we'll get into this one later, but something is going on with Draisaitl's hand, right? We've known that for a few games, and he's just doing some things like he's not taking that shot that he's so known for. So something's clearly going on there.
You can see on the power play, they got McDavid set up in Draisaitl's office.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. But the one that I want to talk about is this. Look, you guys know I'm not a Kane fan. Like, I didn't think they should sign him. Big deal, right? It doesn't matter. What's done is done. So I don't want to talk about the Kane thing anymore, about whether they should have signed him or not. But I'm going to tell you, this is what pisses me off. Because that first game we played Kane up on the top line, he was shit. Like, let's be honest. Like, other than he scored a goal, he was shit because he hadn't played an NHL game in a long time. You could have put anybody else on that top line. That's the first time of the season that we had McDavid, Draisaitl, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins running 1, 2, and 3, and we noticed some depth in the team. Right? Because you had your three top centers there that can drive, each of them can drive a line. Mm-hmm. And you put, and what caused that was that a shit player goes up and plays left wing on Connor McDavid's line. Sorry, but we could have done that all year long. Like,
I got a lot to say about this, so I'll let Durst jump in.
This is not a Kane thing. This is just a shit lineup thing, right? Like, you could put anybody up there. Now, having Kane, look, love him or hate him, makes you better. He's a better player if he gets his game back. And tonight it looks like he's starting to get his game back. Love him or hate him, he makes you better. So now you've got a really good, solid top line, assuming he gets his game back. But all year long, we could have had three lines like that. That could have been the depth because we could have had a shit player on McDavid's left wing. We could have had the Kane from 2 nights ago on McDavid's wing all season long. And so because we've got Kane, all of a sudden we can do that? No, it's garbage. That's what that showed me. 100% that's what that showed me. Okay, go ahead, Durst. Sorry.
That's okay.
No, sorry.
What's the difference really between Kane being there on Saturday night and Cassian being there other nights? I think Kane at 3/4 of his game is kind of the same as what Cassian was bringing there.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed that like a little bit of Kane's passing, on Saturday was a little bit behind Connor. The timing just isn't there. He didn't have that, burst that I think he's going to have probably 4 or 5 games from now. I think the hands looked a little bit better tonight. The passes were there. He's looking to make some hockey plays and be a part of it, but I still don't think he's firing on all cylinders yet. I mean, the guy hasn't played an NHL game since
there's no doubt he
season.
makes the team better, right? But my point is just that, like, with or without Kane, we always had the capability to run 3 centers and 3 lines. He didn't magically give us depth the other night because he played like he hadn't played an NHL game forever.
Yeah.
We had a guy that could have slotted in for him, right? Like, you know, and then, anyway.
It was a
I said I'd shut up, and I'm not.
it was a perfect game to give him that spot, though. Let's be honest. I mean,
yeah. No, I agree.
Montreal is, you know, they are what they are. So that's a good spot to get him up and running. He scores a goal just by kind of casually going to the net. And I thought tonight I noticed, like, I hadn't watched him play a lot when he was, you know, elsewhere because it's not really my focus. But tonight I was paying more attention to him, and he does have good hands. He goes to the net and he looks to tip pucks, and you know, that's something we can use. I mean, Hyman and Puljujarvi sort of do the same thing, but adding one more guy that wants to do that, I mean, that becomes, you know, as games go on, I think that becomes a nuisance for other teams. I mean, it's more to defend and becomes more of a problem. I liked what I've seen out of, you know, Nuge and Hyman as a pair, and I don't know exactly what the reason was, but Cassian didn't look like he saw much time in the third period there. So I don't know if he pissed Tippett off or he hurt himself or what the story is. To me, he looked kind of the same as he usually does. So I don't know if it was something egregious that he did or there's an injury there or what the story is, but I don't know. I didn't mind what I saw tonight. It almost looked to me like they overlooked this game a little bit and became a victim of their recent success again. And it gets tough now going into Washington on Wednesday. That's going to be a real test for this group.
So, Dash, you asked a question about the shots. Like, what's your take on it? I mean, do they need to? The teams that are putting shots on net are winning games right now, right? And we're not. We have the capability. We've got the team to do it, but we're not putting any shots on net, like compared to what we should be able to. That's my thought.
Yeah, let me rewind just a little bit because I want to touch on that Kane point too. You know, as you say that, Michael, and you talk about Kane and an average player in Kane being on that top line and taking that left wing spot, it makes me think of two things. First thing being, let's think about Kane's history in general. We've got a player who, you know, would show up 8 minutes before practice when the rest of the team was showing up an hour before practice. We've got a guy that, you know, would wear a tracksuit to the rink when his team's wearing a suit. We got guys that, even though he had selfish behavior everywhere he went, still got top line minutes. Right. So what you make me think about in that situation as you speak to that is a lot of the reason I think Kane isn't popular in his past teams is because of the human side of hockey, which I know there's very little of nowadays, but, you know, somebody was Colton Seavier's friend and now he's on waivers. Why? Somebody in San Jose lost their spot. You know, there was, trying to remember their names, but I know Kane showed up and 2 left wingers were gone within the next year, one to Arizona and one to Colorado. And, you know, those guys had friends on San Jose. And so it just, like, that's, I think, part of in what comes with this player. And perhaps why guys don't love coming to work when he's one of your colleagues, because it seems unfair. You know, that's the difference between Colton Seavier making $150,000 a year or $750,000 a year. What do you think that means to his wife and kids right now? You know, and there's a human side to that. So, you know, I think that speaks to a little bit of where Kane is going. And the other side of it is that, you know, you say Kane's playing that top wing. Geez, is this not Tippett being Tippett, playing top players too much? I mean, let's be honest here. Like, putting Kane on the top line doesn't surprise me at all if they think that he's one of the better players. This is what Tippett does. He rides McDavid and Draisaitl and these guys to the end. You know, I think maybe potentially that's what's wrong with Draisaitl. You know, we saw it in Nurse at the end of the game. Like, it looked like Game 4 in Winnipeg in OT again. Like, Nurse was sucking wind after a 2 minute and 40 second shift. So that's my thought there. And you guys can jump back in on that if you want. We're a little scattered, and don't ever apologize for not shutting up on our show, Michael. We invited you on for your fucking opinion, so give it to us.
Right?
With shots and the shot types, it's very few and far between that the Oilers give up less high danger scoring chances than the opposition. So you want to talk about the quality of shots? Go ahead all you want. We're a leaky team. Our defense still gives up too many high danger scoring chances. Our forwards still don't come hard enough on the back check. Cassian looked terrible on that first back check. McLeod should have went to the bench instead of thinking about it. I don't know. So, and I even see Shannon, my number one fan, jumped in on Facebook here and said that, he agrees 97 and 29 playing too much and it's showing in dry. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Something's wrong with his hand, right? I mean, he's got to be close to, maybe it's like a small stress fracture or something, but he's not taking that shot that he would normally take, right? Like when's the last time you saw him take that shot? And he's missed a couple.
Before Jim Matheson called him pissy, maybe he punched a brick wall in the concourse.
Yeah, well, that's just it. We've seen it on the TV, right? Like he's, putting some rap or something on there, and that could be a part of just not, overplaying him, right? He might need a night off too. Everybody else in the team has had a night off. Draisaitl hasn't. He was the only one that didn't get COVID protocol, right?
Yeah.
He's playing played close to 30 minutes the other night. By the way, I just let you guys know a couple things on Facebook and that in terms of chats here. Josh says, Durst, you're right. Cassian was 5'10" in the first, 443 in the second, and 155 in the third. Somebody showed Josh naturalstattrick.com, and now he's now he's verifying Durst's comments, and frankly, I don't like any of it. We don't allow comments on this show that concur with Dursa being correct. That's right. James
cut Josh's
James
mic.
on YouTube says, "Does Kane fight Wilson?" That'd be an interesting one. I doubt it, but what do you guys think? Kane fight Wilson on when's that game? Wednesday night? Wednesday night.
Yeah, I mean, if he's challenged, yeah, sure. Like he's fought Ryan Reeves before, so
yeah,
he's not.
That's a little personal.
He's not going to back down really from anything. But no, I don't think he goes looking for it yet. I think he's still trying to just kind of ease his way into this and learn how to play with Connor McDavid and be on the ice rather than in the sin bin.
Yeah, I mean, he did. He held himself back today, right? Like I thought that was good. I'm not upset with Kane, like his play. I mean, he's played what you would expect of a guy that hasn't played all season, right? I mean, if you don't, the only reason I think anyway, and the only reason I didn't want the Oilers to sign him was the person. Mm-hmm. The player, on the other hand, is an exceptional player. It's hard to deny that because he's scored as many goals as he has over the past 6 seasons, 20+ seasons, right? Like, that's a good player. I've watched that guy since, he was playing on the Thrashers. And, I remember taking moves from him and taking him out to the pond or rec hockey or whatever, right? And watching him play. Like, he's a talented player. He's gonna do something for this team. You just hope that in 40 games it doesn't disintegrate anything in the dressing room if it's possible, right? I mean, and so now they're signed and you just hope that he's but I thought tonight he played great. I shouldn't say great, but I thought he played, for a guy that's only played his second game, I thought he played well. He was in the right spots. It looks like he's starting to gel with McDavid a little bit. They played him a little bit. You know what I would like to see? You see how Tkachuk stands in front of the net? Is there anybody better? Like, the way he was in front of the net on the power play. I mean, he's like a blanket over in front of Koskinen. Mind you, Koskinen has trouble making himself look big. At 6'20", he's like he's probably
6'36".
Yeah, he's got to be the smallest goalie in the league.
You know what's amazing?
But Tkachuk, like I'm hoping that Kane is that guy because he can be that kind of guy.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that Grant Fuhr would make saves through traffic and see more through traffic at 5'8" than this guy does at 6'7".
Just like, let's talk about that overtime goal. I mean, you know, Josh said on Facebook. Oh no, it was Shannon. Sorry, this 2 points would have been great. Koskinen should have had that overtime goal. That was bad. That's 5. He's tried. So, I mean, you know, and Skinner didn't let the first one in. Koskinen did. maybe the problem's Koskinen. I don't know. Although Skinner has let the first one in.
You name me an Oilers goalie that hasn't let the first goal in, and yeah, it's a problem for the team. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
There was a couple problems with that overtime goal. I mean, Nurse was out there for almost 3 minutes, so he was out of gas. But I mean, that shot was almost from an impossible angle, and Mikko's down, you know, on his knees. He's hugging the post, but he leaves that space kind of top corner, and Stützle, you know, put it right where it needed to be. Perfect shot by Stützle, but if he's standing up, that doesn't go in the net. So.
I'm not sure they get that big of a 2-on-1 without Nurse and Dry being that tired, though. Like Nurse without almost 3 minutes, and Dry looked like he wanted to change. He looked like he was going to the box there, and then McDavid jumped out, and I think his brain went, "Ooh, I can play with 97," and just kind of turned it back up. And after they missed that scoring opportunity, it kind of went the wrong way.
And Nurse had a chance to change about 40 seconds earlier and cast it up. So,
yeah, that's for damn sure. You know, thinking back to this coaching a little bit as well, you know, like we talked a lot about how, you know, outside shots versus, you know, high danger scoring chances versus low danger scoring chances, and the way Tippett coaches this team. Do you think that this is a problem with the team? Like, do you think that if we played a style more like Calgary or like Ottawa and we could actually get some guys going to the net, that we'd see some more success? Or do you think that we're just too pretty of a team to do that, Durs?
Team's built around some skills, so I don't know if I necessarily want, you know, McDavid and Draisaitl just drifting pucks in on the net just inside the blue line. You know, Calgary does a lot of that, so I'm kind of somewhere between trying to get your shot volume up, but making sure they're quality shots and not just putting shots on net to cause a face-off in the other team's end. So I think there's a bit of a trade-off there. Whereas I think Calgary sometimes just puts pucks on net, you know, hoping and praying that it'll go in. And you know what? Sometimes that's a strategy. I mean, if you put enough on there, you're making the goalie have to do his job, and sometimes an ugly one can squeak through. So it's yeah. I'm not mad that we're not leading the league in shots. But you got to shoot the puck to be able to score. So, like Wayne says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
I'm just starting to wonder if that isn't maybe something that we need to coach into the team a little better. You know, like how many times do we talk about hockey cliches and getting pucks deep and getting pucks to the net and keeping things simple? And it seems like the Oilers just never do that, you know, and Tippett can take his fair share of blame for that, but he can also take his fair share of blame for how much he overplays his players, you know, and this is something we've all talked about, but it actually came to fruition this week when Derek Ryan and Zach Cassian both made public comments about how hard it is to contribute when you get 5 minutes. I don't know if you guys caught either one of those interviews, but, you know, when you've got guys right on the Oilers team that are talking about, you know, in a roundabout way that McDavid and Draisaitl might be getting too much ice time. I don't know. I think where there's smoke, there's fire. Mr. Hebert, you've graffitied the headquarters of Tippett's fan club enough times. Where do you come out on this one?
I mean, this guy's coaching by accident, right? Like, honestly, like,
what color was the spray paint?
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, it's accidental that he's playing 3 lines. The accident is that Kane became available.
Fell in his lap.
Right? Like, you know, and just like I said, he could have played 3 lines all year. You know, if you're going to play Kane on the top line when he's playing his first NHL game, you could have put anybody in there all season long and run 3 lines and not overworked your 2-star players. And I don't know, has anybody ever suggested maybe we should play 3 lines? Has anybody, like, I'm sure maybe a fan or two might have said RNH should be playing a 3rd line.
It's been out there.
You know, you want to talk about shots? Why not get a defenseman that takes shots on net on the power play? I don't know.
Oh, we have one. His name's Bouchard. Yeah, welcome to the team.
Bouchard, but it's by accident. Like, he's on the power play by accident.
Yeah,
right?
For sure, man.
Like, this is, you know, there's no strategy in this position that he's doing. This is just like, you know, we're gonna do it. You know, it just
he got away from it tonight too. Like in Montreal, he was kind of rolling 4 lines and everybody was seeing some time. Tonight he got away.
Because it was 7-2, Durs.
Well, tonight he got away from it. Tonight he was pairing up
because it wasn't 7-2; it was 2-2.
Right? Why would you go away from it in a tight game? You know, like roll those lines.
Thank you, sir. Exactly. Yeah. You got a 7-2 game. It's working for you. You get scoring from 14 out of 18 forwards. Then it's a 2-2 game, and you roll back to your top boys again. This is exactly why I brought this up. And Derek Ryan has played good in the last few games, you guys.
When they came off that power play tonight in the second period, everything was like messed up for the rest of the period. Because you know you put McDavid and Draisaitl out there for an eternity on that first unit PP, and then they come off from that and they're right back out there again as a unit, and then it messes everything up. You can't get into that rhythm of rolling your lines again. So you got disjointed lines, and I don't know.
Yeah, and that, you know what, that 4th line, they were playing great, right? Like you got McLeod, Shore.
2 games now.
Yeah, like they're playing awesome, right? Like, you know, you start. Here's the, you know, I think I go back to Josh, Tough Call Pod, for those of you listening, who's coached.
At Tough Call Pod.
Yeah, at Tough Call Pod, who's coached some high-level hockey, and he talks about rewarding players that are doing the right thing. And to your comments, Dash, that you said, like, somebody's got a friend that, you know, isn't playing the top line or isn't playing because of some guy who can't show up to practice on time.
Seager's doing everything right, but he's in the minors.
Yeah, so, like, you know, maybe we start to hear it more from the Cassians and the Ryans of this world that, look, it doesn't matter what the hell I do, right? Like, I'm not going to be rewarded for it. Like, it's a mental game, too, right? Like, it is a mental game. You go out there and you play. We've all played hockey, maybe not at that level, but we've all played, and if you feel like you're contributing, you have a damn good game. If you don't, or there are times I've been on a team where I felt like I'm doing more than everybody thinks I'm doing, and you know, I'm not getting out there on the same shifts or whatever as everybody.
No, you haven't, Michael. Yeah. Come on. No one's ever told you you're doing more than
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, but you gotta it's gotta be a point of, if you go out there like you're a Derek Ryan, you go out there and have a good game, you get rewarded, right? Like, how many times have you heard Louis DeBrusque said about some other team, they're rewarding so-and-so for having a good game. They're putting him out on the power play tonight because he's having a good game. When's the last time you heard that about the Oilers? Because we have to love Draisaitl and McDavid because they're special players, but you got to reward other players too, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Durs?
Well, I think McLeod kind of got a bit of a promotion.
He did.
But
he did tonight. You're right.
Waited till the 3rd period really to give it to him. So, and what did you bump him down to the 4th line for? To make room for Zach Kassian?
Or why don't you just promote that 4th line a little bit and give them a couple extra minutes, because they had some chemistry tonight. That's the other thing. Like, sure,
for 3 games, you could not just tonight.
Yeah,
you could bump him up, but you could also give them more time.
They had good zone time. Yeah.
Like, I thought they played great.
You bring up something that I just wanted to touch on too. Like a couple of weeks ago, we had Chris Bloke Franklin on, and he made me think about something. Oiler fans have to have a guy to be the punching bag, and it doesn't seem to matter if we are winning or losing games. And, I think Devon Shore is what he is, but he seems to be that guy right now that people want to take runs at. They want Tyler Benson or Perlini or really anybody else to be in his spot. I thought, he's capable, but at some point, I just wonder if he finds his way out of the lineup because, they talk about Evander Kane being a penalty killer. So if they start giving him some of the penalty kill time, then I wonder if that spells the exit out of the lineup of Devon Shore, and then that makes room for, Dylan Holloway in the future or somebody else to come and fill that role.
Just to confirm your guys' eye test, having a look at natural stat trick here, I had a peek. The first line of Kane, McDavid, and Yamamoto had a Corsi for of 45% and a Fenwick of 43%. The Draisaitl, Puljujarvi, Fogle line, which I think has been awesome lately, they're a load to handle on the forecheck in the cycle. 50% Corsi. Fourth line tonight with McLeod, Ryan, and Devon Shore had a 58% Corsi and a 62% Fenwick. So yeah, you guys are right. They were carrying their share of the weight when they're on the ice. So
you might even call them an energy line, right? Like, and we haven't had that since, I don't know, when's the last time we had an energy line, right? Like that. I thought they were good. I gotta say, well, go ahead, Mike. What do you got? You don't have to put your hand up, but
doesn't an energy line have to throw a body check here or there?
Well, yeah, fair enough.
Or go to the net.
Yeah,
anyways,
go to the net. Yeah. I just want to say something because it needs to be rewarded. That when Nurse drove to the net, how bad did you want him to score? That would have been one of the goals of the season. Holy shit! When he went, I was on my feet. I was waiting to scream that it was going in the net. I'm only surprised that he didn't put it right in the bread basket, which is what he normally does. But he was going top shelf on that. He tried. Man, that would have been a beauty. I'd love to see more of Nurse do that.
The goalie scored. The goalie scored. You didn't even see him in the frame, and all of a sudden the puck's in the net.
I'd have a lot of fear as a goalie looking down the lane and seeing Darnell Nurse chugging at me full speed, not knowing if he's going to go full Glenn Anderson through me.
Oh, man.
Wouldn't you just love that once this season? Somebody to go to the net like that?
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were doing that a little bit. In fairness to the Oilers, they were doing that more tonight than I've seen them do it all year, right? Like I said, and Nurse was leading the charge on that, right? Like he was going. They are. I don't know if it's maybe Kane's inspiring them or whatever, but they are playing a little bit more of a game where they're a little bit there's some more bumping, led by Lagesson absolutely throttling Stützle, I might add. Legesson's their new enforcer, man.
Yeah, he threw a right hand like Larocque on Brant Myers there. It just came down and kaboom. Yeah, I wasn't surprised to see him leaking, that's for sure.
I was sure we were getting a penalty when they blew the whistle. That's what I thought. That's what I thought was happening. I'm like, oh, go figure. Another penalty, something behind the play. Nurse went and slashed somebody.
I might have to watch that again. Does Lagesson just stop? Does he just?
He hits him on the way down, and they kind of they fall on top of each other after that final punch. And I'm not sure that he was really necessarily punching him dirt. I did watch this 4 or 5 times because I was trying to figure out what the fuck the ref was trying to do with that net, to be honest. But yeah, as the ref was pulling the net, he just kind of came down on top of him and threw the punch as his momentum was going forward, and then the fight just ended at the same time the punch was landed, kind of type thing. There's nothing dirty there. It was just momentum. Stützle gave him a little corkscrew on the forecheck there. He stuck his stick between his legs and gave him a little bit of a corkscrew, and the puck went on along the cycle, and Stützle didn't move. And so I think Lagesson gave him one, and Stützle punched him right back. And that's the reason they fought, because he punched him with his glove on, and then they went. So Gotta love his post-game comments when he's sitting there leaking. He looks like a boxer that just got beat down after 12 rounds. He's leaking blood. He's like, yeah, it was fun. I just tried to hit him as hard as I could with a big smile on his face. He got my respect there. I like that a lot.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's fun to watch.
Go, Adrian!
Yeah.
Wouldn't hate to see that guy on Draisaitl's wing.
Oh, no.
Hey, and it's Oilers podcast, but I would be remiss if I didn't bring up a couple things here, guys. And we can call it what the frack if you want. And what the frack is happens when there's only 3 games in the NHL tonight. Austin Matthews picks up 5 points tonight, you guys. Looking like he's just making it easy. And that said, it's not even the guy that has the most points in the NHL in one night tonight. Mason Marchment, the son of Brian Marchment, goes 2 goals, 4 assists.
Did
6
really?
points for Florida. Yeah, man. He's got 12 points in his last 4 games and had 11 points 17 games prior to that. Bob Stauffer brought him up on Oilers Now about 6 games ago as an acquisition we should have our eye on. Then he goes 12 points in 4 games.
Yeah, clearly didn't want to play for us. He's like, damn it, I gotta.
Oilers Now. Yeah, exactly.
I gotta
combination of the two.
I gotta pump this up, otherwise I'm gonna be a trade bait going to the Oilers.
Yeah, unreal 4 assists for Matthews too. Usually it's the other way around, but I just thought that was worth mentioning.
Clearly, Mason got all the hands in the family. I think he totaled his dad's point total in one night.
Well, poor Brian did, hit his head on an open door on the boards there.
Man, so that was brutal.
Yeah, one of the worst.
Who's our best player tonight, you guys?
Go ahead, Durs.
Oilers' best player tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's a good question. Yeah, who would you give that to? Oh, man. I don't even know. Yeah, you got me tongue-tied on that one.
I might go Bouchard. 26, 27 minutes, held down the PK. Looked good again on the power play. What a pass to McDavid on that first goal.
Yeah.
Like just on his stick for a second and had him flying down the left wing. I don't know what the Murray was doing on that shot. If McDavid threw a changeup or a knuckleball or what happened there.
Yeah,
it
a bit
looked
of
a little
change
odd,
up.
but
Yep.
I really like Bouchard's game tonight.
Yeah, I was thinking like Hyman or McLeod. I thought played really well. I mean, McLeod played like a yeoman's type of game, like but I thought Hyman played really well. I mean, he made that nice what ended up being a 3-on-2 play, but was a 2-on-1 really. That nice pass there. He was around the puck quite a bit. Man, him and Nuge have got some good chemistry.
Yeah.
And you look for pairs, right, in your lineup, right? Like guys that, and we've not yet found a good pair for McDavid. Although I think if you go by the numbers, Puljujarvi is that guy. I just feel like there's more to that story than we know. Like I feel like McDavid has written Puljujarvi off or something, right? Like ever since last year, right? Like that incident was in the playoffs, right, where he looked to yell at Puljujarvi and yeah, and there was always some rumor. I don't know if there's anything to that or not, but when the two of them, they're like their stats together are hard to like. There's nobody plays better with McDavid stats wise than Puljujarvi.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and then Draisaitl, I don't know. Who do you put on Draisaitl with Draisaitl if not Puljujarvi? Like, Puljujarvi actually makes a difference on whatever line he's on. Although he needs to get off the
I do like that Puljujarvi Fogle Draisaitl combo. They're just big bodies that are all moving fast.
So why do you pull Fogle off that line tonight? Like, what do you think the reason was for that? By the way, Josh said Tippett had a great third period. Josh from Tough Call Pod said Tippett.
1 out of 4 ain't bad, Josh.
Yeah, but, I mean, I do have this Tippett's best game until OT. He said. So he did suggest he was working on something. Matt Peters on YouTube says Hyman needs to be second line. I mean, I don't know. I like Hyman and Nuge on, running that third line. They just need more minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you could even out. I mean, that if you got Hyman and Nuge on that third line, that's, could be as good as a second line on any other team. Right? Those are both top line players. Those are both guys that have played in the top three. Right? They could be as good as any second line
it's a lot of money
in the league. Yeah. It is a lot of money too, but they need more minutes, right? Like you can't play them sheltered minutes. They can't get any momentum then.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think? Should Hyman be on the second line? That would be Dry with Draisaitl, obviously.
Yeah, just yeah. I mean, is their second best left winger?
Yeah, that's obviously Holland still has some moves he's got to make, right? But defense and goaltending, I think, are on the big. Matt also goes on to say 6 goals on the Panthers' third line tonight. So, of course, they were.
He's not doing that playing with Huberdeau and Barkov.
Yeah, they were playing Columbus, though, weren't they, tonight? Isn't that who they played?
Yeah, they were, yeah.
So,
that's right.
I mean, that's like us playing Montreal the other night, right? Our third line had a couple goals.
Or Ottawa that we just lost to.
Or Ottawa. Ottawa's a different story. I mean, honestly, and Matt Murray's a lot better than Montreal's third or fourth string. That's for sure. I understand what Montreal fans are going. Well, any Oilers fan understands what Montreal fans are going through. I had a fan say to me, like, "You have no idea what it's like to go from being in the Stanley Cup final to being last in the league." I'm like, "Excuse me, man, I lived that.
have no
10
idea.
10 years, decade we went through that." Yeah,
Totally.
Oh man. So what else you guys got? Russell was solid, Shannon says tonight. Your favorite guy. Russell's fine if he doesn't play a lot of minutes.
Yeah, it goes for probably 6 of our 7 defensemen, Michael.
Yeah, that's
fine,
right.
as long as they don't play a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
Which, well, I'm not sure what that says about the whole thing, but I guess we'll see. But
hey,
Darius, you want to jump in on anything there before we jump off?
Checking something out. Just one sec.
Take your time.
Yeah.
Yeah. People love the dead air.
It's entertaining.
Do we need to sing? We need the little Jeopardy theme music in the background here.
Keith finished at evens, and CT was +1 tonight, so I guess that's capable of defending there. That's not losing you games. So.
Oh, you had to get the Keith remarks in for Dash here.
We got to rile him up every chance we get.
Man, he looks old though when they're playing the kids, right, on Ottawa, right? Like, doesn't he? I mean, you notice how he out front of the net, like he looked like their dad out there.
He uses his stick more than his feet now. That's pretty evident.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. You think we got a chance against Washington?
Yep, we always have a chance.
Yeah, right. That's the
biggest question for me is who's playing goal Wednesday night.
Oh man.
Yeah, you guys think Smith will be back or what?
Is there any word that he's close to being back?
He played the visitors net for all of practice this morning.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, I think he might. Who was on the bench as a backup? I didn't even notice tonight, actually.
I didn't either.
Was it him?
I kind of think it's Smith, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't really see. I think they've, kind of put him into the rotation. I think he does play Wednesday night. The other question I have is, does he survive Wednesday night if he plays?
Yeah. I mean, will he be injured again? Right.
Yeah, and I mean, if you do play him, I mean, you're back to square one almost, where it's going to take him probably half a dozen games to find his game if he can get through it, not hurt.
Yeah, I mean, There's just not much hope. There's been lots of rumor that Holland's out shopping for a goalie. Nothing I've heard that's been good. I don't know. I mean, I don't have a lot of hope in this department.
Well, I mean, NHL isn't really a place where three-way trades kind of go down, but I think that's what you sort of get into if you're going to ship out Mikko. You almost have to send him to a destination that he'll go to, and move his no movement clause, and then
that he'll go to.
Yeah,
I heard Ken Holland's been scouting Narnia and Middle Earth.
That could be your best line yet.
Yeah, he's gonna go visit. He's gonna go visit Bjork in Reykjavik, Iceland.
He might not have needed to look much farther than the Beauty League. I don't know, boys. I think we're closer to seeing Stala than anyone else thinks. I really do.
Oh man, yeah. We're an injury away or COVID away. After the All-Star break, though. Players aren't being tested for asymptomatic anymore, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that creates a little bit more of a regular season for teams. I mean, most NHLers are, fit and healthy and aren't showing many symptoms, I don't think. So I think you can expect my biggest concern, guys, honestly, is this Draisaitl thing. I mean, tonight there's some times when he had the puck on his stick that it just felt like something's bugging him, right? Like the last thing you want to see is a guy with a major stress fracture in his hand, right? And we're in the bottom stretch. I think the only way that you combat that is to maybe give him a few less minutes, right? Like let him rest up, but.
In kind of gravy time of 3 power plays, I don't think he let one go from his patented spot. I mean, I don't think we had really one dangerous chance on 3 power plays. So
the last 2 games McDavid's been playing in Draisaitl's office. He's the one that's been taking those executioner shots from that one-time spot. Dry had 2 shots on net tonight, and I want to say he had 1.
Well, and the teams know it, right? Like the teams know it. They're not playing his shot, right? Yeah. Like that's, the reality is what made the Oilers so, potent on the power play was.
We've dropped down to number 2 in the league on that power play now.
But there were 4 guys that could take a shot, right?
Yeah.
Nuge always had a little tricky shot that he could take, and with McDavid working on his one-timer and Draisaitl and Barry. I mean, when you put Bouchard back there, we should even be more potent. But Nuge hasn't been shooting as much, and Draisaitl's not been shooting at all. So,
yeah, I would agree to that. I already called this one a win and Washington a loss. So maybe it'll be the other way around and we'll get the win against Washington and the loss against Ottawa. I know Durst called a win in both of these on the road, but 2 games left in the week. Michael, what do you think? We got Washington and Vegas. What are your predictions on those 2 games?
I'd take a point against Washington. In fact, I think this team's got a point in them, right? Like take them to OT.
Go to overtime for the third in the last 4 games.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know what? I think that by game 4, Kane's going to be full speed. And then we're going to see what this team really has. I'm feeling good for them right now. And then, the rest is going to come down to goaltending and also, coaching. Like, does Tippett, change it up a little bit and show something a little bit different? But if he takes the new addition, which is Kane, and continues to coach the same way he always coaches, then it doesn't really matter. We're going to be talking about how Nugent-Hopkins line isn't producing, right? On their 5 minutes a night. Why aren't we getting anything out of, our third line in their 5 minutes a night?
Yeah.
Right? That's the challenge we got. in my mind. I mean, we'll see.
Kane was going to pick a game to get a little feisty. Could be against Vegas, given the San Jose Vegas rivalry over the last few years. I know Reeves isn't there anymore, but you got to think there's a lot of players, maybe including Tom Wilson on Washington, actually, that are going to try to go Kane into something. But I'm going to stick to what I said with the loss against Washington, and then I'll go with the win against Vegas coming back home. Durs, what do you think? You sticking to your guns with the win against Washington like you did earlier in the week?
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna change my stripes, and I think if you're the Washington Capitals, I don't think you do too much to wake up Evander Kane. Just let him.
Yeah, good point.
Let him be who he's been the last 2 games.
Well, whether Tom Wilson is smart enough to do that and let him sleep or not, we'll see, because he does like to chirp. But I like your point there.
Well, Tom Wilson is the type of guy that might do something else to somebody else to see what kind of response they get out of
good point. Yeah.
Kane that way too. So, yeah, Vegas, I believe, is next week. Like Wednesday's kind of, I think, the last game this week.
I'm just looking ahead to the next 2. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then there's kind of the All-Star break this weekend, and chance to reset. Although I don't think, a lot of these guys have played a lot of hockey the last little while. A bunch were kind of injured and COVID and all that. But when they come back from the All-Star break, it's really going to ratchet up, and lots of games, almost every other night for a while. And
till the end of the season, really.
Yeah. So
now till we lift the cup, boys.
Well, yeah, it's now's the time where you got to find.
I love how you put that in there. Yeah.
Allegedly, yeah. Now's the time where you got to find your game and get going in the right direction.
Yeah, you know what, guys? We can't be too upset, right? I mean, 4 in a row and then an overtime loss. There wasn't any super tough competition. I think Washington becomes their toughest competition, and then Vegas. Yep. But you gotta, you always say year after year, you gotta beat the teams that you have to beat, right? And we've done that so far in the past little stretch. So, we're putting ourselves back in that position.
It's Vegas we got to beat. Hey, and Smitty should be ready by then. So maybe the boys will rally behind him and pull one off there. It's a divisional game and not one we want to be giving up Bettman points in. So I'll take a Bettman point with Washington. I'm not so willing to be that generous against the Golden Knights. Yeah,
no doubt. Before we go, Shannon said he read that Kemper was coming here and Marc-Andre Fleury to the Avs and something going to the Hawks. So there's your 3-way. Everybody loves a 3-way.
I don't know if it's a 3-way trade, but I've heard that too. I think if Marc-Andre Fleury does get in a scoop by the Avs, that makes Kemper available, right? So, and that was somebody that Holland had on his list at the beginning of the year. So I think if that guy becomes available again, that's certainly something we're going to look at. I'm just not sure what we've got to give up for somebody like that and how we give up Koskinen in that deal. Because if we're giving up Koskinen and asking people to retain salary, then all of a sudden we're talking about first round picks and Puljujärvis and Brobergs, and that stuff kind of scares me a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I still am not hopeful, right? How can we not get it done yet? We got to be close to something by now. We're leaking goals that we shouldn't be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Koskinen's had a couple of good games, but it's not. He's not done it in a way in which I'm like, man, this guy's killing it, right? Every time the opposing team comes down the ice, you're lying to me if there's not a little bit of fear in you that says he's going to give one up, right? Every time a shot goes towards him, and if we're thinking that, I'm going to guess the players on the team is too. Yeah, here, go watch Boudreau's post-game presser for the Canucks, and he said he's talking about what's his name playing for he's just playing lights out in Vancouver right now.
Demko and Halak.
Demko. He's talking about
goaltender they put in.
He might have been because Halak was in net tonight, but his words were, and this is not word for word, but I'm paraphrasing. He's like, when you have your goalies are playing the way they're playing, the guys can go out there and do things they wouldn't otherwise do and feel comfortable with that behind them.
You can cheat.
Yeah. When's the last time that happened in Edmonton?
If you're going to paraphrase Bruce Boudreau, you missed a few F-bombs in there.
Oh, yeah, I might have. And a smile. He's got to be the happiest. He's got to be the happiest coach.
Darn!
All right. Well, I'm done. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm good.
Show.
I'm good. Yeah.
Your show.
Always good having the three amigos, the three mics on mics all together here and spitting hockey. You guys are two of my favorite guys to chat hockey with on earth. I think Barry, you talk about hockey 36 hours a day.
Just
and Dursa, I love you and I hate you, and let's keep doing it. Sign off, brother.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. You can subscribe to the Heavy Hockey Network. Check out some articles on hockey on heavyhockey.com. You can watch.
I hear there's a good one on there recently. A good article.
Getting some
traction. Yeah, about Evander Kane himself.
You know what's funny is I didn't even want you to release that because I didn't think it was any good, and that's.
Well, it wasn't, but it's on there.
You saved me like always. Yeah.
Polarizing is polarizing.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was good.
Also, you can listen to Mike's show on Tuesday nights, Oilers Live. Eric Friesen on the Forever 99 podcast, and our Josh on Tough Call podcast as well, where he breaks down plays like he's George Peros from Player Safety.
What kind of clown would want to be George Peros?
Yeah. I don't know. Sounds unsafe to me.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for watching. Keep your sticks on the ice, keep reaching for the stars, and go Oilers go. Good night.
Go Oilers go.
Go Oilers go. Look at all that. Like on the left-hand side there, you see YouTube, Heavy Hockey, Twitter, Heavy Hockey.
Smash that subscribe button.
Smash it.
That's a lot of heavy hockey. Yeah.
Hit it. Really good episode tonight, guys. Lots of people tuned in. Excellent. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Also, tune into Dursa's Twitter for skating lessons and power skating instructional videos.
Oh man, I should have clipped that in somehow. Power skating instruction. You better save that for the Oilers Live Cup.
Yeah.
Hey, dippity do, boys. Dippity do.
All right.
Added a little Chariots of Fire music to that, and we'd be
oh man, I tell you, I'm stopping it right.